Our conversation with the authors of a best-selling political thriller that's getting some great reviews. That would be former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and Louise Penny, the very famous author. So their book is called State of Terror. It's co-published by Simon & Schuster, which, like CBS, is a division of Paramount Global. The women met through Clinton's childhood best friend. Her name is Betsy Ebeling. And Betsy's no longer with us, but she brought these two together. And while their book is about a Secretary of State named Ellen, who's got blue eyes, who wears Spanx, working to stop terrorists, they told us it's also a tribute to women's friendship, including their own. Number one, this book, the whole time I'm reading it, Secretary Clinton, I'm going, did that happen to her? Who was that in that meeting? Where was she? Who said what? So first, let's get back to where it started.
Well, when I was first approached, I did not think it was a good idea, Gayle.
You didn't?
No, I didn't. Well, number one, because she is a best-selling author of fiction. I've written nonfiction, never written fiction. I didn't want to lose your friendship, you know, if we were not compatible.
I was worried because I had never written with someone else. I'd never written a political thriller. But if you're going to do it, this is the one you want to do it with.
And once we decided, okay, we're going to stick a toe in the water, then we got to work on the outline. And what's it going to be about? And who are the characters? And what is it that drives the plot? And that was really one of my favorite parts of the whole process, because we spent a lot of time FaceTiming and talking through. And then Louise asked the critical question.
The critical question was, finally I asked, Hillary, what kept you awake when you were Secretary of State? What woke you up at 2 in the morning? What were the nightmares?
Because the book opens, there's a terrorist bombing in major cities, Frankfurt, in London, in Paris. And I thought, that's a good way to start. And then the book is, it's who is responsible for this. And so it takes us on a very wild journey. But I did think, though, Hillary, you took us behind the scenes as to how government works.
Yes.
You know, and I wondered, were you worried about revealing too much or worried about how you felt about certain people? Because there seemed to be a lot of, were you lifting off the layers and letting us see how it worked? Did you do
that's
that?
Really what I wanted to do, Gayle.
I felt that.
Yeah, because when you're in these very high stakes situations and where it's so hard to know what to do because the facts are uncertain or even in conflict, and the characters, you know, they hold these positions, but they also bring all their baggage, their personalities, their temperaments, their backgrounds. And so we wanted that tension.
One of the things that I really appreciate that you described so brilliantly was the stress of having to make life and death decisions when you have very little time and you know you don't have all the information.
Right.
There's a love story in the middle of that, too, and I'm curious about who wrote this line. Do you know which one I'm going to read? Felt his naked white skin as it slid against her dark, moist body. Both luminous in the afternoon sun. She could feel the weight of him on top of her, lying heavy on her heart. Was that you, Hillary Rodham Clinton?
Well, I think it was out of our fertile imagination.
That's right. The first sex scene either of us has written. That's as far as we were willing to go. Pathetic. No, Harlequin romance is not going to get in touch with us.
We said, like, well, what happens next?
Yes.
No, but I got such a kick out of it because I'm thinking, I finally went, oh, my. Oh, my.
Well,
Penny.
yeah,
but there was also, her character was fun, too, for me, because she was not a mouse burger, but there was times she accepted stuff and had to suck it up a little bit.
Yeah. This is Ellen, the Secretary.
Ellen, the Secretary of State, that she had to suck it up a little bit to play her card later.
Yes.
And I wondered how many times, if that happened to you or had that happened to you.
Oh, yes.
It'd be underestimated and over-delivered, but also very firm about who she was and what she was going to do.
I think it happens to every woman, Gayle. Yeah. I really do. I don't think it's in any way unique to secretaries of state or women in government and politics. I think it's where there's the media, academia, professions, literature, whatever it might be. We're always being underestimated, and it is a very difficult balancing act sometimes to not allow anyone to underestimate you, but to know the timing that is appropriate for responding. So That was one of the best parts of writing the book, because Louise and I talked a lot about that experience.
And what's interesting is that we had the same experience with the books. It was underestimated because it was written by two women of a certain age.
Mm-hmm. These women of a certain age actually save the day.
Yes,
Right,
they
and
do.
they don't do it by putting on Lycra and
Yes.
kicking down doors and
Yes.
picking up, grenade launchers.
Yes.
They do it with their brains. I mean, there's a certain amount of the other stuff happening too,
Yeah.
but they don't need to resort to that. They do it because they're smart and they're thoughtful.
Smart and they're thoughtful. We like that. State of Terror is out in paperback now, wherever you like to buy their books. Nate, you can clearly tell they have a great rapport. They had met even before they wrote this book. In 2016, Louise lost her husband, and Hillary Clinton, who didn't even know her, wrote her a note of condolence about her husband.
Yeah.
And Louise was very touched by that. And she said they were both mourning. Hillary's mourning the loss of the election.
Right.
She was mourning the loss of her husband, and her best friend brought them together. Now those two are very tight. And you can see they have a lot of fun together.
Yeah, she was tickled when you started talking about the steamy parts
Yes,
of that
yes.
book, that's for sure. Okay.
They still didn't tell me who wrote that line.
Right.